It's the Daily Doug.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today. My friends, you have found me on a day where we are returning to music from the anime tradition, and I am happy that you are here. Most of the time here on the Daily Doug, I'm looking at classic rock or prog or metal or those types of sounds. But recently we've been getting a little bit more into gaming, music from film, and some music from the anime world. And today is such a day. We are taking a look at music from My Hero Academia, its original soundtrack, and the song that we're going to hear today is called You Say Run. And I'm very interested to hear this. I don't know much about it. I have looked into the history of this show and this series and into our composer, and I'm ready to hear it, but I haven't heard it yet. So let's get into it, y'all. As with most anime shows that I've taken a look at here on the channel, My Hero Academia started off as a manga series and has grown into this full-blown media empire. It was first published in 2014, and the story is set in a world where the people have superpowers called quirks. And this is something that has become relatively normal for people to have. The story itself focuses on Hizuku Midoriya. I'll get it right. Who is a boy born without superpowers, and nevertheless dreams of becoming a superhero. And he gets noticed by one of the world's great heroes named All Might, who bestows his own superpower to Izuku after realizing the great potential of the boy. The boy then enrolls in a school that is set up for superheroes in training. That's what reminds me of Charles Xavier and his, the School for Gifted Youngsters, I think, from the X-Men. Pretty cool. So from this original manga, there's been several spin-off manga series. There's been novels, there's been animated shorts and animated full-length movies, and 7 seasons of an anime television show, and its 8th and final season is slated to premiere later this year. So I think we're catching it before it's over, y'all. The soundtrack for the anime series is composed by Yuki Hayashi, and You Say Run, the song we're going to listen to, is the theme song of the series. Our composer, Yuki, was born in 1980, and he is a Japanese composer best known for his work in this space, for anime and for television and for movies. I found this interesting, actually. He started off as a gymnast and became fascinated by the music selections for floor exercises. And so when he was in college, he began dabbling with and learning to compose and create music as well as produce his own music. And he ended up being able to work with Hiroyuki Sawano, who we've listened to here in the past, in his first major breakthrough. And he's since been able to form his own studio and do his own thing and be a full-time composer. And I think that's pretty darn cool, especially in the 21st century world. So I am really eager to listen to this, y'all. I don't think it's very long, maybe 3 or 4 minutes, but I'm curious to see what the instrumentation is going to be, what the sounds are going to be like, and why millions and millions of people are drawn to this. So let's take a look at this theme from My Hero Academia. It's You Say Run. Off we go. Kind of a soft opening. This is 6. Nice. 2, 5. Off we go. flat 6, flat 7 to 1 E minor, 6, 7. So a 4-chord progression. Nice. Flat 7. Finally gets there. Listen to all of this. Lovely, long lines with all of the undergirding happening. There's a choir in there too. Spunk to it, doesn't it? Just in a straight 4, and it's all diatonic so far from what I can tell. Mi, fa, that's a C, sol. It's gonna go. Nice, into a breakdown. Lovely strings. Then just up the scale. And it's going, it keeps resolving to the relative minor. Right? I hear voices in there, but they're really low in the mix. Yeah, this is a recurring progression. 3, 6, 7, 1, 3, 6, 7. And there it is. There it is. I love seeing the characters in the video there as well. That's cool, y'all. You know, it's almost pop. It's a real fusion of styles from what I could tell. The chord progression is really common practice pop. We're using the scale from G major or E minor, 1 sharp. The F sharp is all that we've got in there. And there was this move between C to D, and then it keeps going up to the E. The C to D is predominant to dominant. And it can be 4 to 5 to 1 in the relative major, or it could be flat 6 to flat 7 to 1 in the minor version of that scale. And either way, it works as almost a relay of handing off these musical sounds. A predominant sound moves to a dominant sound, and that sets up a resolution to our home base. And throughout it, it was either going from that E minor chord, the 1 chord, up to the G major, which is 3, then to C to D, and then re-racking, or it was coming all the way up from that A, B, C, D, all the way up to E. And it provides just a wonderful palette to spin all of those great melodies. I thought the orchestration was wonderful. It didn't, the drums didn't hit me over the head too much. They were just right. I thought it was really cool as a sound palette to establish this world here. Really, really fascinating. I will tell you this: I found something really interesting. Actually, the most interesting part of my read-in was learning about this track's name itself. You Say Run. That's an interesting name for a song, especially one that doesn't have any words. I mean, we did hear the choir, but I didn't hear any lyrics or language from them, you know? So, for what I saw is that You Say Run is a play on words. It's a romanization of the Japanese word yusiran, and that word in Japanese translates as zygote. Now, that's a word that I've heard before. I know what that means, right? So, the Japanese word Yusiran is written with three characters. I really don't know anything about the Japanese language. Their characters, the way that they write, that's fascinating to me, but I've never really looked at it. And the Japanese word is written with three characters. The first means existence or being. Okay. The second character means spirit. And then the third means egg. So it's translated as zygote. And zygote is the biological term that we use for the product of both sets of reproductive cells coming together, eventually giving rise to a new living organism. So I think this is a quite an interesting tie-in to the major plot point of the story. It's the next generation. It's the handing off and training up and cultivating of the next generation. It's passing the torch, right? So this new generation is being provided with what they need in terms of training, but also genetically and in just their gifts, right? What they're seeded with. And that's going to be with them as they are facing the challenges that await them in the story, in the world, or however this continues. And so You See Run, or You Say Run, is a romanization of Yusiran. So language is helping us here. I guess it's kind of like a bastardization of that word. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of how we get the word oboe in English. We all know the oboe, right? One of the double reed instruments in the orchestra. It's a French instrument. And the word in French means or is haut. Haut is how it starts. And it means high wood. And so in English, instead of saying au bois or hot boys, we do the bastardization of how we might say it in English. Oh, he's got not an hautbois, he's got an oboe. All right. In old British scores, it's looked as it's called an hoboe, hobo, and that's kind of an English bastardization of the French. And so we're taking language and putting the sounds into a different language, and we get You Say Run, which doesn't really mean anything in English, especially with the content of what I'm reading about this as the story. But it's connected to the way that the Japanese word sounds. I found it really interesting. I love learning about language and how these ideas intersect and how they become something else, and just a seed of an idea that we can then work into and create wonderful stuff. So if you have liked this, y'all, I certainly did. I haven't seen any of the footage from the show, but I am eager to continue on learning about these pieces, especially in anime, which is something that I've never really watched. So if you've got a great song from one of these anime shows that you would like me to take a listen to, let me know in the comments, and I will see what I can do to get to another anime title in the near future. But I believe that that is going to be all for me today, everybody. I thank you for hanging out with me, and we will see you next time on another edition of the Daily Doug.